Hey guys, a shorter episode today, but an important one. I want to talk about a major mistake that a lot of sports card investors are making right now, and it's going to cost a lot of people a lot of money, possibly including you, if you don't correct this mistake very soon. I'm also going to talk today about what I think the months ahead might look like for the sports card market with a potential recession on the horizon and what it means for you. Let's first talk about the mistake. The mistake is letting what you paid for a card affect what you are willing to sell that card for today. Every time I go to a card show, I see people making this very mistake. Dealers I'm trying to buy a card from tell me, even though recent comps are $300, I can't let this card go for less than $500 because that's what I paid for it. Collectors I'm trying to do a trade with tell me, I know this card recently sold for $40, but my trade value on it is $90 because that's what I'm into it for. This is a mistake. And in a minute, I'm going to tell you why it's about to cost those people a lot of money. It's worth noting that this is not just a common mistake in card investing, but this is also a common mistake in the business world and the startup world too. It's called the sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy occurs when you are focused on the money and resources that you put into an investment in the past, instead of focusing on the investment's present value and future potential. By focusing on the past, you make decisions that are not in your best investing interest today. The sunk cost fallacy occurs because humans are not purely rational decision makers. Humans are often influenced by emotion. And the pain of losses and having to take a loss or admit to a loss outweighs the joy of gains. Therefore, you are more likely to want to avoid losses than to seek out new gains. And this mindset will cost you big money, whether it's in business or in sports card investing. Here's how. Let's take that dealer that I talked about earlier, who has that card that he paid $500 for, and now recent comps on that card are around $300. He won't sell that card for less than $500 since that's what he paid for it and he doesn't want to take a loss. Therefore, he's going to hold on to it and hope that the market for that card will eventually heat back up and someday he'll be able to get his $500 back out of it. As a result, he's probably going to hold on to that card for a while. His money is tied up in that card, so he doesn't have any of that money to cycle into other cards that might make much better investments in the months ahead. He's taking a huge risk that the market for that card will eventually go back up. And even if it does, the best case is probably that he'll sell it at break even, because as soon as that card's value gets back up to $500, he's likely going to sell it right away. All of this is an awful mistake. Here's the way he should think and operate. He should say to himself, it doesn't matter what I paid for that card. I could have paid $50, I could have paid $500, I could have paid $5,000. Who cares? All that matters is this card is worth $300 today. And I must ask myself this. If I only had $300 to my name that I could ever invest in sports cards, is this the card that I would pick to invest in? Is this the one card that I believe in more than any other card? Is this the one card out of all $300 cards in the world that I think will go up the most in the months or years ahead? The answer is almost always no. That card that dealer is holding on to probably isn't super desirable with how the market has changed over the last year. Maybe it's a base card, and many modern base cards have lost tons of momentum in the market, especially as print runs in recent years continue to be cranked up and up. Or maybe it's a player who was a hot prospect a year or two ago, but their star has started to fade. Whatever that card is, chances are it's not the best investment card for the money today. So what that dealer should do is sell that card immediately for whatever he can get for it. It doesn't matter what he paid for it. If it's not his best investment option today, if it's not the card that he'd pick today if he were starting over, then he should sell it immediately. Get whatever he can and move that money into another card that he believes in more, another card that gives him the best opportunity to make a positive investment return in the months or years ahead. That's what he should do. And that's what you should do with your card investments, and I think you should do it soon. And soon could be really important. This hasn't been a great year for the value of sports cards. Actually, it's been a pretty bad year. The sports card market is down more than 10% since the start of the year, and sales volume has really slowed down over the last couple of weeks as well. Now, part of this is because of the time of year we're in right now. Football is in a dead zone right now. Baseball is still far away from playoff races mattering, and most basketball and hockey teams are sitting at home entering their off-season. Because of this, it's typically a slow time for sports card buying and selling this time of year. And we should theoretically see the sports card market pick back up as we get towards the end of the summer and football and basketball get closer to starting up again. But this may not be a typical year. The economy and stock market have been shaky, and there is now widespread talk of a recession later this year. Inflation continues to be really, really high, and interest rates may be on the rise again. Now, not all of the economic news is bad. The job market continues to be strong. So no one knows exactly how this is going to play out. But if there is a recession, that's going to impact the sports card market. And cards of players that aren't super sought after, cards that aren't particularly desirable or rare, cards that aren't likely to hold a lot of long-term value, are probably going to be the cards that are impacted negatively the most. So here's my suggestion to you today. Take a hard look at your sports card investment portfolio. Now, cards that you own purely from a collecting standpoint, hold on to those. You shouldn't care much about the value of those cards. Keep them and take pride in your personal collection. But cards that you own simply because you're going to resell them or flip them down the road, look hard at those cards. Forget what you paid for those cards originally and just look at the current value and ask yourself, do you think that those cards are the very best investment cards you could own right now for that value? If the answer is no, then sell those cards and go put the money into other cards that you feel are a better investment for the months or years ahead. Or if you believe a recession is coming, then maybe put some of that cash on the sidelines for a little while in case there are some nice buy low opportunities for cards in the months ahead, or in case you need that money to support you or your family. All right, guys, I've got two final important points I want to make today. But first, if you enjoy more of this kind of business and investing type of conversation, then follow my personal channels. I am reinvigorating my personal YouTube, my Geoff Wilson YouTube, with more of these types of videos in the future. And I'm already posting a lot of them to my personal Instagram, It's Geoff Wilson, and my personal TikTok at It's Geoff Wilson as well. So give me a follow. Okay, my last 2 points. Number one, although I've repeatedly said throughout this video to ignore what you originally paid for a card when deciding what to do with it today, the one exception is that you do need to maintain a record of what you originally paid for a card for tax purposes. And if you properly report your card profit and losses on your taxes, you can likely take a capital gain loss if you sell a card for less than what you originally paid for it, which may mean that you can offset other income on your tax return for the year. So this is another reason why it sometimes can be an okay idea to sell a card for a loss. And the number 2 point I want to make, and this is really important, I want to be clear to you that I continue to be very excited and optimistic about the long-term future of the sports card market. I believe that in the next few years, as we start to feel the impact that Fanatics and the sports leagues will have and their marketing exposure that they will bring to sports cards, we're going to see another boom period for the sports card market. It's going to take a few years to get to that point for that impact to really be felt, and the market could be shaky between now and then, particularly if the overall economy isn't good. But I am still heavily invested in sports cards for the long term. I'm still buying cards, and I will continue to do that. My long-term optimism about sports cards continues to remain very, very high. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed my thoughts, but what is a video without an advertisement? So a couple of advertisements. First of all, these paintings behind me, they're awesome. They're available for sale on our website in a variety of sizes. Go to sportscardinvestor.com and go to shop in the main menu bar. You can find them there. And let me remind you that you should download and use the free Sports Card Investor app, especially as you are rebalancing your card portfolio or looking for buy low opportunities. The Sports Card Investor app is your best friend with pricing data and deals on more than 600,000 cards. And if you are serious about sports card investing, get Market Movers. There's a free seven-day trial. Just go to sportscardinvestor.com and click on Market Movers in the main menu bar. Okay, guys, what did you think? What did you think of my thoughts today? Do you agree or do you disagree with what I said? Let me know in the comments. I am eager to hear your reactions. And if you appreciated this episode, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and maybe share it with a friend if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys watching. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll see you back soon with my next episode. Take care.